You'll be pleased to know that sermon's not going to be quite as long this morning. I know, you're very upset. I can hear it. Really? The respect, Sandra, that's something you're going to have to sort out for me, the respect for me. I was told this week that if people rib you and make fun of you, it's because they love you.
Yes.
So embrace that love. So today's sermon is around Epiphany, but also taking on board that we have taken Sandra into our midst as associate lay pastor. But I wanted to be very clear. The sermon title is Seeing It in a New Way. Now, I am not talking about visually seeing things here. This is not about our physical eyes. We are talking about the understanding of things. To see someone in a new light is not necessarily to see them physically in a different way. Like, we get new glasses and we can see things clearer. We're not talking about that. Some of us have had hearing issues over the last few months and have hearing aids and can now, when we focus, hear better.
Yes.
That was the one occasion he was listening. But I'm not talking about that either. It is time for us, I believe, to start to see things, to experience things in a different way, and to shake off the old ideas that we have and to experience things differently. And that's one of the things that I believe Sandra brings to us, as part of her ministry here, is to help us to see things a little differently. We had God speak to us in this community, and we listened, and we stepped out of our usual box. We stepped out of the usual box that has clergy as pastors, and we have a lay pastor. We have to step out of boxes in order to really embrace what it is that God is showing us. And each of us will have a different perspective on all different manner of things. Some of you share them often. But it's important that we look at different perspectives. An epiphany is something that most of us will have heard about all through our lives. Whether we come from an atheist background, whether we come from a Jewish background, most of us will have every year seen pictures of the three wise men coming to the manger. What does that mean to us? What has it always meant? See, it's part of the Christmas story, but it's the end of the Christmas story. So once they get there, they give their gifts and off they toddle, they go home, they go a different way because Herod's a bit mad at them. But that's the story that we've always been told. The slide that I have today has a cylinder and has light shining from either side of it. When the light shines on the length of the cylinder, the reflection on the wall is square. But when the light shines on the cylindrical part, the reflection on the wall is circular. And that's how it is in life. Some of us will see that square reflection, and some of us will see the round reflection. Some of us visually cannot see a reflection. And some of us can see something totally different. When you put a pencil or a pen, have you ever done that? We did it when we were in school. Put it in a glass of water and it looks like it's bendy.
Yeah.
We know it doesn't bend.
Yeah.
We know that. But it bends when it's in water. Well, it looks like it does. This is the whole thing with Epiphany. It's a revelation. The wise men came and they gave gifts, but they were guided by God. They were given a different way to look at things and a different way home. And I think it's willful negligence on all of our parts if we don't start looking at things in a new way, the way that God tells us to look at them, instead of I've always looked at it that way. God is always this to me. Jesus is always this to me. Church is always this to me. We've always done it that way. The last words of the closing church. We are called by God through Epiphany to allow ourselves to have a revelation, to take notice of what's really going on in our community. Now, I know some of you are empaths, which means that some of you can really see below the surface of what's being said and experience that which is real and true to the people that you're with or to the community. But some of us need to open ourselves up a little bit more to that, because what we see is not necessarily what's going on. If I go out into the community and I have a look around and I really take on board what is out there, there is so much hurt and so much loneliness. And just recently there's been so much talk of the wall. Now, however you feel about the wall, I don't want to get into a political debate, but there's been a lot of talk about the wall. And for me, that is symptomatic of what's going on in our society. We want to put walls up to shut people out. We want to put walls up to keep ourselves protected and in. And that's not just as a country, that's personally. Because there is so much going on that we can't cope with. And so we put these invisible barriers around ourselves. And even though God can see through those barriers and move mountains, let alone barriers, if we're not open to it, it ain't going to happen. In the story of the Epiphany, it was a time of coming together. It was a time of family. It was a time of just being in community. That was the ethos of the day. Where have we lost that to? How many of you live in a community, apart from Ginny and Alex, who know your neighbours? How many of you truly know your neighbours? Okay, I am seeing like 5 hands up out of, what, 50 people? 6, 7 maybe? That is sad. That's a sad day for our community that we don't know our neighbours. I don't mean in and out of each other's pockets. You know, I think I shared this before. Our neighbour was dead 4 months before Bob and I knew.
Wow.
And I put my hand up that I don't know. I saw her daughter, who I do talk to, because we see her when we're out with the dogs, and I happened to say one day, I've seen your mum for ages. She said, well, there's a reason for that. She died 4 months ago. We're moving away from loving and being in community and moving to these walls. Now, I know that in my new house I want a wall. I want a big wall, and I want fencing, and I want it to be my safe sanctuary. But I don't want it at the cost of losing community. God calls us to see things in a new way. And I was interested this week. Someone came to see me, and I say this often to people, but I don't often hear them say it back to me. But they came and saw me this week, and they said that when they walked into church, they felt a sense of, what is it that I can give to this community? What is it that I can offer? What can I share? Not what can I get out of it? And you know, when you give to others, whether it's here or in the community, the blessings abound upon you, and you can be so moved by the Spirit. But when you put the walls up, you don't allow God's Spirit to move you to a new place. Epiphany can remind us that yes, we want a new building. Yes, we've got the plans for the new building. Yes, we've got this much money towards the new building. And we want it so that we can fit, because usually we're bigger and we can't fit in here very well, very comfortably. We need a new building so that we can do new things. But we will be willfully disobedient to God if our focus around the new building becomes how many people we can fit in it. God is asking us to see things in a new way. So that if we do worship in the new building, that's fantastic. But God may be calling us to do worship on the street 3 weeks later. We have to allow ourselves to have that epiphany. I read in one of the articles around Epiphany reflection, we can witness a song and a dance of birth around us. Witness a song and a dance of birth around us by watching other people grow and find their joy and find their spirit. I want to tell you a spoiler alert. Well, it may not be a spoiler alert for some of you. The wise men, the Magi, were Zoroastrians. They were not Jewish, but they came to the birth of a Jewish boy. They did not convert to Christianity, even though they came to the birth of Jesus. We can find that song of birth and dance in the groups around us. We can work together and see that song and dance with anybody that God calls us to do it with. If we start building walls around us, then we'll only see the square reflection and not the round reflection. Last week I shared on a slide the African-American theologian Howard Thuman, who said, when the songs of angels are stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home and the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the people, and to make music in the heart. If we're going to allow epiphany, and epiphany doesn't just happen in one day, let me just say, you can have an epiphany any day. God's giving you epiphanies all the time. You just miss them sometimes. If God is giving you an epiphany, will you allow yourself to see things in a different way? And are you ready for what that revelation will do in your life? I hope so.
Amen.
Amen.
So it's now early January, and we've just finished the holiday gift-giving season. As joyous as it is to give and receive gifts, it can also be fraught with concerns. How do I choose the right gift? Will it be the right size, the right color? What if they already have one? Thankfully, when you give back to God through Trinity MCC, you have no such worries. When you give of your time and talents, the gift is always appreciated and never duplicated because you are each God's unique creation. When you give financially, you help to sustain and grow this community, not just Trinity MCC, but the wider community as well. Your gifts keep the doors open here as a refuge for those who may not have heard the message that God loves them exactly as they are. Your gifts have allowed us to provide with the new year full-time wages for our hardworking Reverend Catherine.
Amen.
Through Trinity's ministry, we are able to fight for social justice in our local community and beyond, and to spread the message of God's inclusive love for everyone. Your financial gifts are enabling us to begin planning and move forward on a new building to serve as a home for our growing spiritual community. With this in mind, I ask that you give as you are able to continue this important work. And as a reminder, if you have already arranged for your offering to be sent automatically from your bank, you may place one of the green markers in the seat backs in the basket to indicate that. So at this time, I ask that you please stand as you are able and join us in singing We Three Kings as we offer our gifts like the Magi, as the ushers will pass among us.
Field and mountain, moor
on Bethlehem's plain. Gold I bring to crown him again. King forever, ceasing never, over us all to reign. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westwardly still proceeding, guide us to your perfect light. We three kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we travel afar. Field and fountain, moor and mountain, following yonder star. Star of wonder, star of light, star with royal beauty bright, westwardly still proceeding, guide us to the perfect light. Glorious now, behold him arise, King and God and sacrifice. Heaven sings, hallelujah, and the earth replies. Oh, star of wonder, star of night, star with royal beauty bright, westwardly still proceeding, guide us to your perfect light.
Loving Creator God, we offer you back these gifts in light of the many, many things that you give us each and every day. We ask that you guide us in their use to spread your message in our community. We thank you. Amen.